Yo, yo, yo. What it. I was trying to do something. Yo, 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 everybody. What's up? Welcome back to another episode of the What Now podcast with Spencer and Zach. Back on the Dolo cast action. What's up, Zach? Getting your supplement game on. Let me unmute you.
Yes, I'm making my morning cocktail.
What's in it? What you got?
An Element. Shout out my electrolytes, and then an AG1 packet.
Nice.
I don't eat vegetables.
Bro, why are you drinking AG1, dude? You know they're under a lawsuit. It's fake.
Well, I got a free box of it, so that's why I'm drinking it.
Free is for me, dog.
Yeah, free.
Free is for me.
That's one thing. Oh, one thing I think I'll. Maybe not, but I think free will always. Oh, I'm making a mess. This is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad. This is good podcasting, though, right?
Yeah. I got my morning cocktail going right now, too.
What are you? You're probably on some hippie wave. What do you got going on?
No, not at all. I got some Magna. No, not Magna. Which Magna is a new electrolyte brand that I just tried. It's awesome. They have a tea and lemonade, like an Arnold Palmer one. That's my favorite drink in the whole world.
Arnie Palmer alert?
Yeah, a little Arnie. And
this is my current mess.
Bruh.
Yeah. See how this goes.
And but I couldn't bring myself to like take all the sugar and the carbs and all the like the not awesome stuff. So now there's an electrolyte, dude. It tastes just like tea and lemonade, bro. It's fire.
Oh, wow.
From this company called Magna.
Nice.
Not Magna.
You're talking about like the sugar and the carbs from
no, from tea and lemonade.
Oh, okay. I was like, are you that sensitive?
No, like I just don't want to drink a gallon of lemonade or a gallon of sweet tea. And then I mix them, and that's whenever it's even better. But
yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I can't do that. But now I got the electrolytes, dude. No sugar, 0 calories. It tastes just the same. It's fire. Nice. No, I'm on some Gainful electrolytes. I've been really liking those. Okay. During my workout, I got a little bit of residual flight left over. So, I'm locked in for the podcast with a little bump of caffeine.
Yeah.
And then
there's probably some flight still left in here.
Then I hit the Bare BPN creatine monohydrate, 5 grams every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually then I'll put in the Thorn magnesium bisglycinate.
That doesn't make you too drowsy?
Nah, dude.
Nice. Good for you.
And then, that's why you gotta have the caffeine in it,
That's fair.
And then sometimes I'll do the BPN strong greens and strong reds. I really like those, but I just don't want to drink a salad every morning.
Yeah, it's kind of what the AG1. The AG1. Yeah, the AG1 with the. Yeah, I made a mess. AG1 doesn't taste too salady, but I've definitely had some greens that you're like, man.
The BPN ones are pineapple coconut flavor. They're actually really good. I just don't like the texture. I'm a texture guy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
happy birthday for those that don't know. Today's Spencer's birthday, so if you're listening to this today or whenever, text him happy birthday. He's the big 2-7.
I should upload it today. Usually I've been really good about getting the podcast out the same day, which has been cool. So thanks so much for listening, guys. But yeah, today's my birthday. Thanks for everybody who's telling me happy birthday. And this is people ask me what I want to do. And dude, honestly, like I was like, man, I'm really just in this stage of life where I just want to work. Like I want to do this stuff and like I want to be in the office and I want to work on those things because like we're gonna plan on starting like a family soon. And I'm just in my grind season, dude. I'm enjoying it. And it's good. I'm rehabbing the ankle from the ankle sprain, doing pretty good on that. Can't run yet, but I was squatting today, so it's pretty good.
Nice.
Nice. Not very much weight, but getting back into that full depth. So it's been good. But today we're going to talk about something just like supplements that gets better as you are more consistent with it. And we're going to touch on marketing again today.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think that's something Zach and I are both leaning into quite a bit. And something that everyone always you just continually refining it. You'll never be done marketing because marketing is just letting people know that you exist.
Mm-hmm.
Advertising is offering someone something to buy. So those are two different things. But we're going to talk about a specific branch of marketing today, or a specific type of marketing. I think we talked about it in a couple of our past episodes. Something that Zach is definitely better at than me, because I don't do a ton of them. But we're going to talk about in-person events.
Better at them, just I do them.
Yeah.
We're
gonna. Yeah, that's true, right? So we're going to be talking about in-person events today.
Yeah.
Specifically on the screening category. So Zach, take it away. Let everybody know what's up.
Yeah, man. So now that I've made my mess, I don't want to take the attention away, but I think at some point it'd be good for our listeners to hear your goals as you head into year 28 or 27. I don't know how the math works.
28th year of life. Yeah,
Yep.
I think about that.
Yep. Yeah. So about screenings, man, there's a lot to go into with screenings. But for those that maybe don't know what a screening is or haven't done one in a while, basically you set up a table, you set up a booth at an event, at a gym, at a supplement store,
somewhere.
I think if you go back to our conversations with Elise, I mean, she was setting up, which I thought was genius. She was doing screenings at mattress stores. I was like, that's actually really smart. But you can get really creative with it. Yeah, I think you said barbershops, salons. There's so many places you can do a screening. And there's many different ways to do a screening. And we've played around with a lot of them. And we've done a lot of them. And we seem to find our success best with a spinal screening. And so we'll bring a table out. We have a questionnaire that in order to get checked, you fill out the questionnaire mainly so that you at least are creating a lead. We can dive into that more. Like, are you doing a screening to generate leads? Or are you doing a screening to generate new patients? Both. What does that look like? Things of that nature. They fill out the form, ask them basic questions like, are you experiencing headaches, sciatica, concussions? Are you pregnant? Whatever it might be in the last 2 years. Just so you have something to go off of. Then we palpate the spine, seated. I really don't like having people lay down, face down. You got to clean everything. It's just much easier seated, more comfortable for them. And we work them through some ranges of motion, all the stuff you learn in school, hopefully, and then let them know what's going on and how we can help. And then we give them an offer of some sort. And then, yeah, that's a basic screening in 2 minutes. But I think a big reason I personally love screenings is I love connecting with people. I learned over the weekend I'm not the friendliest looking person when someone's walking by. I'm learning to smile, but I am not the most. I think I'm attractive. I think
you have resting
handsome,
Zach face.
But I have resting Zach face. There's the inner bear in me, and so there's not a lot of people that walk up to me. But I know once I get in connection with them, and we start talking, I can connect with 98% of people.
Yeah, you're friendly enough.
And yeah, I think I'm friendly. I crack a joke or two, and we're good to go. And so yeah, we've been doing screenings basically ever since we opened. We've gone to different gyms. We've tried supplement stores. We've done grand openings, those type of things. So that's basically what we've done over the last 2 years.
Yeah, talk about your most recent one. So you just, you just crushed your last one. I mean, that's awesome. And so talk about that one, and then kind of tell everybody, like, what did you do? Where did you do it at? And then who are the kind of people coming into that setting? Yeah. Like, what are the kind of people you meet doing that?
Yeah, so we just did South Lake, the town over from us, does a big Oktoberfest event, and there's a lot of drinking, there's a lot of fried food. And so the 2 years prior to this past weekend, I didn't want to set up a booth because I was like, well, is that the right crowd? Whatever. But it's also in the town center, so people that are going to shop at Lululemon, going to shop at awesome. Nike, wherever, they're just going in. They don't even know what's happening. They start walking around. So there was a wide range of people. Now it was a really long event. It was, quote, expensive for an event. And I was blessed. Had some awesome students come help out. My staff did an amazing job. I was the bad luck charm. They'd be like, things were like blowing up and I wasn't there, and then I'd get there and things would slow down. That was just kind of like the running joke.
You're resting Zach.
Yeah, the resting Zach face. But yeah, it was, I know how we do at screenings. And so when they told me, 100,000 people roll through Oktoberfest throughout the weekend, I was like, okay, it cost $2,500, not including, paying for the hours of employees being there. setup costs, everything like that. So all in, it was probably like $3,500 after you factor everything in. But I know our numbers. I know if basically 2 people sign up for care from that weekend, then we break even, right? And so if there's 100,000 people going in, I think that we will have 2 people sign up after the amount of leads we generated. We worked 4 to 9:30 Friday. We worked 10 to 10 on Saturday, and then we worked 12 to 7.
10.
Yep, 12 to 7. Now, this isn't something like if you're a solo doc, I don't know how that would work, right?
Dude, that's a marathon.
Yeah, but having the team, we had our goal was to always have 3 people at the booth at a time, and so we had multiple students. Shout out Trent, Levi, Bryce, Amanda, Dustin, and Amon. So we had a good crew that we were able to keep each other fresh and active, and that way no one was dying in the heat. I don't think we could have done it without them. I know for a fact we couldn't have. And if we had done it without them, we would have walked in Monday morning gassed and exhausted. And that was one thing I really did not want, was to have a really successful event and then be burnt out afterwards. So everything fell into place. We were able to generate, I think we had about 15 people paid for exams, and or put a down payment on an exam. And then we generated over 60 leads on top of that.
Damn, that's awesome.
We were able to fill the pipeline there and begin nurturing them. And so to me, well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, and so 60 leads, that's like people that give you their information like that. So like 60 times, let's just say like your LTV is on the low end at like 1,500 times 60, you just generated like $90,000 in business.
Potential,
like
for sure.
A potential business, right? And so, I mean, that's pretty awesome. Like $3,500 for that many leads, like that's great.
Yeah.
Not every lead turns into a client, but so if like your lead conversion, I mean, the low end of lead conversion, like you'll book like 20, 30 new patients from that, and you already had 15 show up, so or like put a down payment on. So that's fire, dude. That's awesome.
Yep. And it was we talked a little bit last week about my office transitioning to patch, and we've slowed down our Facebook ads. So it was a great kind of perfect timing to supplement the slowdown in Facebook ads and begin transitioning us to more of the patch system and getting that ready. So yeah, it was well timed.
Yeah, I mean, you can spend $3,500 in Facebook ads, and you might have a month, and you might have like 3 people show off of that, right? So
yep.
I mean, it's where your opportunity is. You have to you just have to be where the opportunity is, and
I think too, people and we found people from screenings that convert to care are, I mean, really high quality. One, because you've already connected with them before they've even come into the office. They're well bought in, and I will say, at my first ever screening, I was still independent contracting in Dallas. We got 20 new patients from, and I thought I crushed it. Made the mistake, didn't collect a single payment from any of them. None of them showed up.
Wow.
Which was just a huge lesson. And so we, especially this weekend, knowing the amount of people we were going to talk to, you were not given an exam slot if you did not put down a down payment. And so our exam price is $150. We would say part of our script was to give back to the community today. We're actually offering that for only $75, and we're taking a down payment of $20. And so they would put the down payment of $20, or they'd be like, can I think about it? I'm like, sure, but if you call the office on Monday, it's $150. And so there was just, and it's taken time to get to that point. Like when I first started, they were like, oh, can I think about it and call on Monday? I've been like, sure, and I'll honor the whatever.
Nope.
But that's just, you get to a point where you're like, I know this game. You're not calling on Monday. And so it kind of creates that urgency for people, and I think takes you seriously too.
Yeah, I know, for real. Dang, that's crazy. Talking about like high quality leads coming in, like what are the kind of people that were coming up to your booth, and like what are the things that people were saying like at your booth? Like what made them interested? What would they want to come in for? Like those kind of things.
Again, I wasn't there too much, so I can't say for like certain, but the people that I would at least have conversations with, we had like a whiteboard that said, free neck and spine eval. And so a lot of them would come up just asking like, what is that? Um, and then we would tell them, and then they'd fill out the form. And so for a lot of people, neck pain, a lot of desk workers, people working on a desk, they were there with their kids having a good time, but they're like, yeah, I mean, neck pain, headaches. Quite a few people that we talked to they actually said like, oh, I've been like looking for a chiropractor, and we were just magically there that day. So that was just another great moment from a marketing standpoint. Is like, yeah, you want to be like online, social media, that kind of thing, but if you can be in front of the public where you serve, um, people don't have to go search on Google or whatever it might be. So a lot of it was wondering what we were doing from an eval. Some people come up and be like, can I get an adjustment today? And you could tell they've had like 3 or 4 beers. And it's like, no way, Jose. But yeah, it was a lot of, I've been looking for a chiropractor, or do you guys help with sciatica, or do you help? And then being a DFW, kind of the third was, oh, I saw a chiropractor like 10 years ago, and then just never went back. And so talk about that and everything.
Yeah, I know. My big goal is to not be that person, like where people are like, yeah, I'm looking for a chiropractor. I just haven't found somebody that I like.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so that means that so many chiropractors are taking in not good fits for their office.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is it lowers the reputation of the profession as a whole, that chiropractors are not for the public.
Mm-hmm.
Or we don't do a good job of retaining or following up with our clients. And so then you become the guy of, yeah, I went to this guy once or twice, and then I never went back, and it was okay, but I mean, I really didn't see a big difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's important that you show up to these things, and then you also follow through.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know that you have the system set up to do that, but at this, like, I think the getting them in the door is the hard part, right?
Mm-hmm.
But retaining people and getting them under care and doing a good job is where the work is, right?
For sure.
And so I think, like, I want all of our listeners to know, like, yeah, you can get all these new patients and stuff, but if you cannot fulfill them,
Mm-hmm.
then there's no real reason to do them. And so I think that, dude, I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so it was definitely a home run. And I mean, another like reason I did it too was I knew going into this week, we had a short week because we're going to ChiroWethCon.
Yeah, let's go.
So super excited for that. But I knew my staff would have Thursday afternoon, Friday off after the event. So it was just perfectly well timed. And again, couldn't have done it without those students helping out. And it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's nice too, because I mean, people appreciate when you're out in the community. Like we had a couple practice members that would walk by. They're like, "Oh, it's awesome that you guys are out here." And you just get to connect with other local businesses and that type of stuff. So,
yeah, I talk about like what was the difference between like your first couple of events, because obviously, well, I mean, maybe not, but I would assume that an event like this, like a 3-day, $4,000 event, probably 30 hours of an event, like, it's not going to be your first event.
no.
If you're just starting up, I don't know if this is necessarily an event for you. So what was your first event like, and what lessons have you learned from those first events that kind of help you, that set you up for success in this one?
Yeah, I think, I mentioned already the first event didn't collect any payments, put people on the schedule, no showed. So, I mean, that's the biggest lesson. Never do a screening without collecting payment, no matter how desperate you might feel.
Before or after?
What do you mean?
Like, do you have people, you do the spinal assessment, and then you say you should book an appointment, and then they pay?
Yep, correct.
Gotcha.
I can talk about like flow of like how we kind of work someone through. But yeah, I think, always collect payment. And I think too, and this goes with social media, but especially at a screening, is not necessarily, fire hose, like tell everyone what's going on. But don't be afraid to supply high level, high value information to someone in those 2-3 minutes that you're with them. Don't just be like touch on their neck and be like, you feel how tense that is? We get rid of that, and then try to sign them up. But like talk with them. Don't be afraid to, depending your office. Like we're more on the pain based side, so like I was giving out stretches or recommendations, and just like really providing value to build that trust, right? To like one, create that authority, and then also people are desperate for answers. They don't know what's going on, and so that was one thing I really had to learn. Because at first I wasn't necessarily like that person I kind of joked about, but I was just so like caught up in, okay, do a quick spinal analysis, tell them what's going on, and then get them signed up. And it was never creating that relationship with them. So slowing down, really being with the person in front of you, not trying to rush through. If there's people like approaching your booth, like just be with that person and they're not going to walk away. And that was something I was always fearful of, is if I took too much time, people start to walk away and leave. And that's also the power of having a team. So our first few events, I would rush through and maybe miss key things that I should have hit on in the assessment. And then also, I think that's really it. Sometimes
so what's like a workflow look like? For your screening event.
Yeah, so we've done a couple different offers. We've tried we've done the spinal screening, seated. That's the one I personally like the most. We've done like free mini massage gun sessions, but that was more like we were at like almost like a CrossFit gym, post session or pre-session. That worked okay. And then we've done the digital posture analysis right there, and that has worked pretty well too, because people like to see themselves. But for us, typically, ideally, we'd have 3 people. So I call them like a spotter, so someone kind of in front of the booth, engaging with people, or that's just engaged with the person that's approaching the booth. Then you have the chiropractor, if you will, doing the spinal analysis, letting people know what's going on, and then you have the scheduler or the booker, and that was typically one of our CAs, where after that we'd pass them off. If I was talking with Tracy, I'd say, hey, Tracy is looking to book an appointment. She told me Tuesday would work best for her. Rachel, could you get Tracy signed up for Tuesday? And then I would hand it off and be ready for the next person. And so that's the general workflow. Someone approaches the booth, fill out the questionnaire, bring them back to the chiropractor. Chiropractor does the spinal screening, hand off to the booker. Is, to me, the ideal. Now it takes team, and that takes a good kind of practice with it. But as a solo, you can also do it just fine, depending the volume, right? I don't think you could have done solo at this type of event, but at a gym,
100,000 people.
Yeah, at a gym, like I've done solo screenings at a gym, and it goes just fine.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so then, do you do any like follow up like after the screening, being like, "Hey, it was nice to meet you. I'll see you at your appointment."
We typically, like Josh on Sunday, after everyone that had signed up Friday, Saturday, Josh came back to the office and put in all the people that had booked for this week. That way they got an email as soon as possible, confirming their appointment, and then sending them their online intake forms. And then yesterday, within the first few hours of being open, anyone that booked the second or third week after the screening got put in. And that's something I'm kind of playing around with. I've never actually had this successful of an event, and so sending maybe a text the week before of like, "Hey, we're excited to see you next week. Don't forget your appointment is at this time," rather than like the typical 24-hour notice. But we watched a lot of people put it in their calendar, and those type of things. So
yeah, it sounds like something that Jeremy could definitely streamline for you. He could get you like kind of booked up, and then create like a drip to do automatic follow up.
Working with them,
because they do a lot of screenings.
Yeah, like, they do a workshop. They do a workshop, and anyone that didn't book an appointment, we put them into that flow, and so they'll get hit with 4 emails through a drip campaign. I don't know the timeline of it or anything like that, but That's our big part of today, is putting people into that drip that didn't sign up for an exam.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's evolved, and it's gotten more, it's gotten higher level as we've evolved, and have more team and more assistants. So
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I mean, that is definitely different than our in-person events that we do. We our events are not like that.
I mean, but again, not every event is like Oktoberfest,
Yeah.
like I've done a screening at a gym for 2-3 hours, and to me is successful. Like if I'm at a gym and we sign up 1-2 people an hour, we're there, that's really successful for us.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's so different.
Yeah. So is your intention going there is like you're saying like, hey, we're going here to get new patients?
Typically, yeah.
Yeah.
Typically the goal is at least new patients, but again, because we have that screening questionnaire, whether or not they sign on, we at least create a new lead. I mean, I've had, and again, talking about the importance of like weekly emails and follow-ups. We did one of our first screenings. I think it was like January of 23. We did a screening at Fit Factory while it was still open.
OG.
Woman said, she's interested, but all her money basically goes to her kids' sports. And I was like, okay, I don't get that, but I get that. And then August of last year, we get a call, and she was like, hey, I've been reading your emails. Congratulations on getting engaged. I want to start care. And I was like, great.
That's
So
awesome.
it took almost 18 months for that to come back around. But
Yep.
that one conversation and consistently emailing paid huge dividend.
Yeah, there's a feature in the patch program where if somebody opens your email, like 6 or 7 of your emails in a row, and they're not a client, it'll prompt you to be like, hey, this person keeps reading your emails, you should probably reach out to them.
That's awesome.
And it's good. I think that patch will kind of tie, well, the whole point of it is to kind of tie everything together, like with your events and your practice and all of your stuff. I think it'll be good for you. I'm excited to see kind of how your practice blows up even more.
Me too. Me
so,
too.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
I did want to add one more thing that we've done, and it was somewhat successful. We've only done it once, and I definitely would like to do it another time. We've actually done an in-house screening. This was back working with Ryan Ryder, where we ran ads to an in-house screening. People would sign up, and it was free. And so on a Saturday, I think we were open from like it's either 9 to 1 or 10 to 2 for 4 hours, and we'd have people come in. We do a posture analysis and look to book them. So there's more than one way. You don't always have to do it outbound. You can do it in-house as well.
Could you even like maybe run that just continuously to where they could book a free screening?
That's
where they just pop in, and in between patients, you could just be like, hey, like we should really come to June.
Especially like we have decent foot traffic around our office. Is definitely something I've thought of. I think right now with just one chiropractor, it'd be on the more difficult side. But I think with 2 or 3, kind of be a no-brainer. Rather than like walk-in exam, rather than have like a walk-in exam type thing. Just build that value and let them know like, hey, since you came in,
let's take it through
quick screen.
That's cool.
To it, I mean, once they do come in, it's even less time for their exam because you've already done some of the stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. That's definitely different than all of our events. Our events, we just did an event. It was a trunk or treat. We were dressed as cowboys, and I saw
you all dressed up. You're looking cute.
Yeah, dude, I got to buy a hat. I now have cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. So next, I need a belt buckle.
You don't quite have the cowboy trio, but you are more cowboy than me. I got the tattoo.
Yeah, you do have the tattoo. Yeah, so I mean, our events, we just did a trunk or treat, and we passed out our signature organic suckers and some glow-in-the-dark tattoos.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, we were talking about it, and like we're like, oh yeah, see, in-person events, not for us. Unless they are in-house events. We do really great in-house events for our current clients. And those are always just more like appreciation things for people. We really like those. And that honestly generates us a lot of leads as well, just because the people will bring a friend, or they'll have kids that are not under care, or all those kind of things, and they'll be like, you know what, I need to start doing this for my other kid. And so we'll do that. But all of our community events, and my goal is just for brand awareness. We just go out there just to show people that we be out here, we outside, and that's really it. Like, we go out there and we give people stuff for free, and a lot of people will be like, "What business are you?" And we're like, "Oh, we're in Power Chiropractic," and they're like, "Oh man, dude, I've heard such good things about you guys." And we're like, "Yep, just here. So glad we got to meet, man." And that's it. And then a lot of times people will, from that, sometimes they'll call in, or sometimes they'll end up knowing somebody, because we're in like a super, super small town. Like, no event in Argyle is 100,000 people ever.
Right. I mean, most in South Lake and Carlville are not either.
Yeah.
And that was another big thing too, is we always ask location of where someone's from. Because we would get all the way through like our pitch, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm just visiting from California." It's like, wow, I just kind of wasted both of our times here.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we do all like the local stuff. We did a trunk or treat. We do like the back to school bash. We do the football booster club event.
I think both are equally as important, if not brand awareness, especially. And that's, I mean, such a hard, I think, concept as an like young doc to kind of grasp, is how important brand awareness is. Where like when I first started, if you told me like, look to build brand awareness and, hand out suckers so that people know about you, I'd be like, I'm not going to waste my time doing that. But they call in 5-10 years after you've built the practice, and it's like, okay, it was all worth it.
Yeah, we I mean, the biggest thing is like, I just a lot of people at the events they're not gonna book. Like, the way that we do it, I mean, like, a lot of people are not like, the things that we see for, like, they're not moms actively breastfeeding that's like, oh man, my latch is so bad at Oktoberfest, like, or at least they're not like, you know what I wish was here? A chiropractor that could fix my baby's latch. Or, like sensory kids are not going to be at 100,000 people event like that, and like, we just have like too many like intimate, like, moms struggling with like infertility, or not, they're not going to tell us that at, but it's just the connection part too. Like, the kids, they're picking out their suckers. We talk to the mom's like, "What do you guys do?" We're like, "Oh, we're pediatric pregnancy chiropractors. And so this is what our office is like all the time." And, they're like, "Oh, that's super cool." And that generates like some interest for us. And we always do that stuff. So
nice.
It's a little bit different. I've done a couple of events. What else have I done? I did an Easter egg hunt, like my first couple months open.
Nice.
And the Easter egg hunt was fun. I just had like a bunch of rubber ducks, and basically like the kids didn't understand the game, so I just ended up saying, "Pick a duck, any duck," and they would just take a duck and run. And so that's it. Maybe I could have got branded ducks if I had more than like $200 in my bank account.
Yeah.
But that would have been really cool to hand out like rubber ducks or something with your branding.
It was really interesting to see the different ways at Oktoberfest that people were looking to generate leads. One roofing company, they got me. They were like, "Yeah, put in submit your information here, and enter a chance to win an AR-15." And they had the AR-15 like at the table. And I was like, that's the most Texas thing I've ever seen, but I'm going for it.
It's pretty sick.
And I'm sure they generated hundreds, if not, thousands of leads just off that.
Yeah. Some of the things that like that though, it's like, man, like, how many like quality leads like are you gonna get? Like, how many unsubscribes are you gonna get? But then again, I guess it doesn't really matter how many unsubscribes you get, because if you have 3 people who are
especially
for on a roof,
for a roofing company, I mean, they get one roof out of that, and they're probably coming out, positive.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll give away an AR-15.
That sounds about right for a pediatric prenatal practice.
You gotta protect your kids, man.
Exactly.
Dude, I don't know. I think anybody in Texas would sign up to win a gun.
It was funny. It was like you could win an AR-15 or an espresso machine.
I'll take both.
Yeah.
How about both?
Yeah, it was funny.
But I definitely take the AR-15 over the espresso machine.
Yep.
Nice, dude. Well, that's cool. So, Hopefully we'll follow. So you have all 15 of those people booked up for this week coming up?
7. I guess it's technically 19 because we have 7 this week because we're on a short week, and then we have 12 next week.
Dang. Look at you crushing it. That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's sweet. I think that's another big thing, man. Like, I forget who I was talking to. It's like when you first are starting up and you're like, man, I got 30 new patients. That's awesome. But especially if you're like running it solo. But like, I feel like when your office is full, it's kind of hard to get like 60 set. Like some people are like, yeah, we have 100 new patients a month and it's just me. It's like, that's brutal, bro. Like how, like, I don't know how you're fulfilling 100 new patients a month by yourself. Or it's like, it's me and one CA and I have 100 new patients. It's like, I guess if I do like a 4-minute exam where I'm like, yep, back needs cracked. Bam. Like sign up for 24 visits. Like,
it's been interesting. Like kind of, I've started to pay attention to Hormozy stuff again for a little bit the last couple of weeks, and like a big thing is like one, product fulfillment, and then not burning yourself out by trying to see thousands of people.
and I've
just
been paying attention to Hormozy more recently too. I feel like he put out so much content. Like
it was for the book sale, which is definitely something I've started to notice is like, oh, I'm seeing this person everywhere. They released a book. That makes
He's
sense.
advertising.
Which is, I mean, it makes sense. It's genius.
I didn't know he released the new book. Am I gonna have to go get it?
No. It was like the reason you saw him for so long was because he was
it was
leading up
$400
to
million leads.
Yeah.
Well, I have those right here.
Yep.
Those are good books. Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely, if you're trying to market and you're trying to generate leads, like to kind of wrap up our marketing conversation, the $100 million offers is phenomenal, and you have to read it, I feel like, so that you understand $100 million leads. Because if you have nothing to offer, then you can't convert your leads into clients. And so, and he doodles a lot, so it makes it really easy to understand. But those are great books. $100 million leads, $100 million offers by Alex Hormozy. They're sitting on my bookshelf behind me. Solid books. That one is good. Marketing 101 by Donald Miller. Also great book. That's the only marketing books I've read. What have you read?
I'm a big Donald. My goal for Q4 is to dive into Donald Miller quite a bit and kind of have that implemented going in 2025. Donald Miller, Hormozy. I used to be a Dan Kennedy guy. I still think his stuff is pretty good. It's just so brash. Like upfront.
You're like a big Gary V guy too.
Yeah, I've never read any of his books, but I used to follow and like listen to his stuff.
I don't even follow. I don't even follow him.
A lot. I'm trying to think.
I think for you guys who are like wanting to implement a lot of this marketing stuff, Jeremy DuPont and the patch system, they're honestly like, especially if you're a cash based office and you're like a small team cash office or even a big team cash office, but especially if you're starting out, Jeremy will teach you a lot of the basics that a lot of people look over really well. He's got an awesome newsletter each week. I read it every week. It's really awesome. Same. And Jeremy knows his stuff. So he's a really great follow. And he's the guy that's kind of pioneering both Zach and I's marketing efforts, which they're totally different. So if you like the stuff that we're talking about in terms of marketing, I think it's worth following Jeremy. We'll have to have him on the show.
Yeah, I was about to say
I'll text him. If you have a call with him, just talk to him. But I'll have to text him or something. So cool, guys. Well, if you like this, give it a share. Let us know what you think. If you are doing screenings, message us, but maybe even specifically Zach, and let him know what you're doing so that you guys can collab and check it out. Hopefully we'll see some of you guys in Miami coming up this weekend.
Definitely excited.
Thursday, we'll be there. We're super stoked. It's if you are going to Miami and you're listening to this, be sure on your flight there or your travel there, or if you live in Miami, listen to it before. But we've had all three, Elise, Lauren, and Steph, all on this podcast, which is, I think, a really cool thing for us to be at. It's gonna be awesome. We'll have to get a picture with all three of them. But they've all been on the podcast, and they've all been some of our best episodes. So make sure you give them a listen before you get some background on their origin story and kind of their
Mhm.
mindset. Because I know like Elise
Yeah.
and Lauren and stuff, they all really kind of dive into their origin story, so you can really understand who they are as people. So
Yeah.
give those a listen. And thanks so much for listening to the Whatnot podcast. We'll have a ton of stuff to share after this week when we come back from Miami. And so that's what you'll be hearing next week with Dr. Whitley Caruso.
Very excited for that.
So cool, guys. All right. Peace.
Peace.